Municipal Elections 2021.
From the seat of government this morning, the Cape Town Civic Centre, we debate how the ANC, the ACDP Good and the Cape Coloured Congress plans to deal with the issues affecting you, the ordinary citizen and the voter. Representing these parties, Zahid Badruddin from the Democratic Alliance. He is one of the party's Cape Metro Region Deputy Chairpersons. Fiona Abrams, from the ANC. She's the party's caucus spokesperson. Ron Haskin is here from the ACDP. He's the leader in the City Council, also a former Cape Town Mayor. Brett Heron, Secretary for the Good Party, also a former mayoral, he's the mayoral candidate, but a former employee in the City of Cape Town. And Fadil Adams, also a President of the Cape Coloured Congress, new kid on the block contesting the elections for this year 2021. Gentlemen and lady, good morning.
Morning.
Hope you guys are well. As we certainly come to you live from what is evidently the seat of power in the City of Cape Town, and a host of issues that I want to get into. But before we get into our official elements, we'll talk about housing and a host of issues. Maybe just at this moment to tell me how you guys feel about the election, literally almost, a little over a week away. Let's start with the Democratic Alliance. Are you nervous yet?
I'm excited. Tashriq, salam to you and the listeners.
Salam.
It's been a long journey, knocking on doors, I think, for all of the colleagues that I work with, speaking to as many residents as possible, reaching out, trying to engage with as many people. And I think it's an exciting time now. I think all of us are probably nervous for the big day to come, but we as the are definitely ready for the 1st of November.
Nervous or excited, Fadil, or excited to kick Zaid out from the council chambers?
The only novice in this election, but we are super excited that for the first time, coloured people will have a voice within the City of Cape Town. So yeah, good times.
The ANC says it is a party for all. Do you think you have the political muster to come back to council?
Yes, we lost power about 15 years ago, and it's not good to lose power, but we've learned out of our mistakes, and we know we are excited about the election, and we know that we need change. After this 15 years, we definitely need change. Our community is suffering. It's in fact a crime to be poor in Cape Town, and we need to change that. So we are excited as the ANC to take back the City of Cape Town.
You have scores to settle, Brett. Good morning.
Good morning. There is a lot of unfinished business, obviously, that we would like to come back and finish. But we're really encouraged by the response of voters. We are campaigning throughout the day and throughout the night to reach as many voters as possible and to persuade them that the DA have had 15 years in government. We can look at their track record and see if our lives have improved. And on the 1st of November, if we don't vote for a new government, we'll be stuck with the same thing for another 5 years.
Yeah, Grant, not a new kid on the block. You've been here before. Good morning. Thank you very much. Are you hoping to increase your share at the seats of power?
Absolutely. It's not just a hope, it's a guarantee. Our campaign teams have been working feverishly for weeks now. Everybody's excited. And our message is getting out there to communities, and it's a unifying message. So we're very excited about response from communities telling us that what we're saying is right, and they want to hear that message, and so they're going to be voting for the ACDP.
Okay, and we'll find out why and why they should as we get into a host of issues. And let's start off with the issue around affordable housing. We'll start with you, Zahid. In a minute or so, where does the city stand on affordable housing? Because to very many, the DA is reneging on this. The DA has gone back on a host of promises that it did make.
So Tashriq, I think it's important for me to perhaps disagree with your statement.
Go for it.
And in the minute that you've given me, I would like to emphasize that the city believes fundamentally in delivering quality social housing opportunities to our residents, as close to business nodes, as close to transport nodes, as close to public amenity nodes as possible, so that we're able to address the very high housing backlog that the entire country and our city is experiencing at the moment. And it's incorrect to make the statement that the city has reneged on its promises, because we've certainly not done that. Over the past few years, we've invested about 6.9 billion rand into housing projects, which will continue into the next 3 years at least. And in addition to that, there are currently 13,300 housing opportunities currently under construction in the city at the moment. So fundamentally, the statement is incorrect. And in terms of other land parcels that have been identified a few years ago and that have been actioned by various parties that seem to not be underway at the moment. This again is not true, and I hope to get into a little more about that.
And one of those parties is the good political party. I want to go to you, Brett. Are you misjudging the situation at the moment where the DA says there are projects underway, they have committed money, the project is well underway?
No, I think the DA is misleading the people of Cape Town. The closest that we've come to getting affordable housing in well-located areas was the 2017 project that we released for the inner city, where we released 5 sites to develop at least 2,000 social housing units and about 10,000 in total affordable housing units. Those projects were cancelled 2 months after I resigned from the City of Cape Town. On the 1st of November, the date of the election, that would be 3 years since I've resigned from the City of Cape Town. There's been no movement on any of those sites. There's been no movement to release any other land that perhaps the DA have identified in the meantime. The Salt River Market site, which is the site that the DA caucus blocked and caused me to step aside from the DA and this council, has still not been released to Communicare 3 years after I resigned. So I don't think that there's any real credibility in the DA claiming to be committed to delivering affordable housing.
Yeah, very quickly back to you, Zaid. Were those sites cancelled? What is the evidence?
Evidence is this: Pine Road, which has been mentioned, 243 housing units, which are currently at the building plan submissions. Dillon Lane, 160 units. Public participation, design development.
Which areas are
Pickwick
these?
area.
Which areas are
This
these?
is the Salt River Woodstock areas that Brent says that we've cancelled. We've certainly not cancelled that. Brent Eden is a MACO member for Human Settlements for at least 2 years. Will know that it's not as simple as identifying land and then building houses. Must go through the process. But unfortunately, he left the party that wanted to build these houses, and now is complaining that we're not doing it. And I can go on. Woodstock Hospital, 500 units, but that's currently invaded, and we're currently going through a court process at that site. Maitland, 200 units again. Glenhaven, 416 units, and I can go on and on, Brent. You know that this is true.
I have to answer
Absolutely
that.
not lying.
Okay,
You are misleading community.
I want to bring in Fadil just now, but
I
quickly,
need to
Brett.
respond to that.
Yeah.
First of all, Pine Road is a diversion. Pine Road is a project that I started when I was a ward councillor in 2011. 2011, my first meeting after being elected ward councillor for Woodstock and Salt River was to meet with MEC Madikizela and ask him to release that land to the city so we could release it for social housing. That was not one of the 5 sites I'm talking about. And if you go to Pine Road now, there is no construction there. 10 years later, there is not a single site being developed in the inner city. Not one.
I know you're burning to respond, but I'm hearing, Fadil, you're telling me that we're fighting over housing in inner city. Your towns and your communities in the southern suburbs are begging for houses, through which you're going to tell me none has been delivered.
Well, I can take you back to the 2013 promise of housing for Parkwood and Artery. And I can tell you in 2019, MEC Madikizela came back and said that they'd built 86 houses. So it's a 10-year wait, and 86 houses are promised. To date, none have been built.
You previously said that Tertius Summers lied to you. Tertius is, of course,
To
the
my
MEC for human settlements in regards to housing projects in the city of Cape Town, and particularly for your community. Well, why do you say so? What evidence is there for this?
I've got 4 witnesses.
Yeah.
Mr. Simmers said to us, I will help every person who qualifies for RDP housing who is being evicted at Steenwille. There's 800 families up for eviction. Tertius Simmers made this promise, walked away, blocked everyone on WhatsApp, refuses to answer our emails, everything. The man is a liar. I need to disagree with Mr. Badruddin's statement that the DA is committed to building houses close to the economic hubs. Pontyville is not an economic hub. Mitchell's Plain is not an economic hub. I want to disagree with MACO member Badruddin when he says that they want to bring us closer to work opportunities. I want to, in fact, inform MACO member Badruddin that at this stage, the only houses that I see being built are being built on sports field within already overcrowded ghettos. I want to tell Mr. Badruddin that as far as I know, he's the MACO member for health, and I believe that the housing portfolio might just be a little bit out of his reach right now.
Well, let's go to Fiona. Fiona, where does the ANC see the issue of housing? Are there key priority areas that you think needs to be, well, looked into for the, not just conceptualization of a project, but the actual delivery of houses?
Yeah, I think Fadil and Brett, they are correct in their analysis. You know, we have not seen any new projects. We've not seen it. There is several projects that's incomplete. And I'm not even speaking about the inner city. I'm just speaking about housing projects that has been here for the past 20 years that is incomplete. So if the DA is really serious about affordable housing, they would have completed these projects. They have 2/3 majority in council. They don't need anyone. In fact, they can make a decision today. Remember, all of the departments is under their rule. They have 2/3 majority. So if they were really serious about housing, our rental stock would have not been looked the way they are. Our staircases is falling apart. Our flats is without proper wiring. And that is the truth. That is what's happening on the ground. So all these projects that he's been referring to, it's not new projects. It's not new projects that the DA brought. And there's no affordable housing in our inner city, close to where people are working.
Grant, let me come to you. I'll come to you, Badruddin, to respond. Just in terms of the city's delivery, many of your colleagues are saying that fundamentally the DA has not done so.
Absolutely right. And if there is delivery, there might be some form of quantity, but the quality is completely lacking. Steenville is a good example, and many others. The staircases are falling apart, doors are falling off, there's no ceilings, and the quality seriously degrades very quickly in a very short period of time. And then what happens is that you can't get anything fixed. What the city's just done now is they've just spent millions of rands painting the outside of council flats around. You know, if you fly in, you can see all these newly painted, but that's all they've done. They've not addressed the fundamental quality issues in housing, and it exists around in the province. So it's not just a situation in one or two suburbs. It's a quality problem and a quantity. They cannot deliver on housing anywhere in Cape Town.
Councillors Badruddin, let me come to you, respond a host of issues that were said there. But my question, maybe to sum it up from what I'm hearing, is that projects you referred to of 11 years ago, or 5 years ago, etc., that have been put in motion, what have you actually delivered?
Yeah, so 11 years ago, I think is not a fair statement to make. We've heard that Brett Heron 11 years ago wanted to make this project happen. He also himself said that only in 2017 was this land released. And so it's important to state that those projects which he's mentioned, those 5 parcels, are at various stages, as I've mentioned, but you're asking me for practical information. And so here's the facts that my colleagues next door to me are ignoring. The fact is that we are building at Conradie at the moment. The fact is that in Boertesig we've already completed phase 2 of the housing development. In Glenhaven, 416 units will be built with phase 2 also being completed. So too in Maitland, 6.9 billion rand to human settlement projects over the next 3 years, 2.5 billion rand for formal housing on well-located land, 13,300 housing opportunities are currently under construction in the city, and that is the fact. And they ignore that.
Very serious points. I mean, why does it take 5 years? I'm going to give you an example.
You ignore Conradie. Have you not seen that? Maitland,
Glenhaven,
Bordale, Tauf.
Okay, I'll get them to respond just now, right? What I want to understand, Councillor Badruddin, is that I drove just down the other day down Woodstock Main Road, and I see there's a massive building that went overnight. It came up, right? Why does it appear in council we take 5 years to simply just get on with the construction of it and not have homes being delivered?
And I think that's a very fair question. And there are a number of complexities that arise when it comes to developing houses on a local government level. Let us consider the fact that on a local government level, we're dependent on grants to be able to build these houses.
But sometimes those monies are sent back.
No, 100% not. We're dependent on grants that are decreasing. Money is never sent back. What happens to money is rolled over for projects that plans are underway but not spent in a particular year. Rolled over, not sent back. And that's the important fact here. Projects, as you know, happen over a number of years, and that money remains within that project until implementation stage.
Is there a completed project that you can refer to in the past 5 years?
Absolutely, and I'll mention it again. Boertesig, we've just completed phase 2.
Inner city.
Glenhaven, phase 2.
Inner city.
In the inner city, there are parcels that are underway that are going through rezoning, environmental applications, as we see in Pickwick, Dillon Lane. We're at
but to be fair, that's not completed. You're rezoning.
Not complete, but all at the right stages in terms of development. And you can't skip any of those stages before you actually start to build. That's the reality.
Okay, let me go to Brett quickly. Brett?
Thanks, Tashreeq. Look, I think what we have to bear in mind is that we release 5 sites of land in the inner city, 3 in Salt River and Woodstock, 2 in the inner city, on the 20th of September 2017. By February 2018, we had 13 proposals for those 5 sites. In January 2019, Dan Plata and Malusi Boy announced that those projects were cancelled. If you go to any of those sites now, they are standing empty when they should be construction sites. In fact, in December, the DA gave Growth Point a lease on one of those sites for parking. So there's no commitment to developing those sites. If there was a commitment to developing the sites, they would have opened the 13 bids and proceeded with them.
Okay.
But the point is they're talking about doing feasibility studies on these sites. If you want to test feasibility, just put it out to the market and see what the market brings you back. We've got 13 bids for 5 sites. Those sites are feasible.
All right, Grant, you want to respond?
So the DA will very quickly and very often complain about the complexity of delivering services because it's not their money, it's National's money. But then we wonder why, when the city has such an adversarial relationship with national government, that they want to claim all the wins for themselves and they want to lay all the blame on national government for anything that goes wrong all the time. If you want to deliver quality housing to the people of Cape Town, we've got to change the government so that the relationship between us, the province and national government improves, because it is a partnership that's going to cause us as a city to deliver services. Yeah. It's not going to be if you sit as an island like the DA is in this city. You pretend you're an island and then you try and deliver services. Okay. You cannot succeed like that.
Fiona?
Yeah, if we look around, if we look to the reality, we see temporary housing structures. Yeah. Yes, that they have delivered. We see a Blikkiesdorp, you see a Delft 1, 2, 3, 4. You see a Wolverivier in the middle of nowhere. That people they need to walk far distances just to get public transport. That is what you see. You see where temporary housing was said, okay, this is only for temporary. It's now permanent structures. So how serious is the DA really about delivering services to the poor? Delivering houses, not even just affordable houses, just the basic needs for our people.
Fiona Abrams there from the African National Congress. Fadil, very quickly. Fadil Adams for the CCC.
I've heard Mr. Badruddin mention 3 areas there. I'd like to take him back to his opening statement and ask him which one of those 3 areas is in actual fact an economic hub. Because what the DA says and what the DA does is 2 different things. Then I need to ask Mr. Badruddin, with regards to housing and the empowerment opportunities that come with it, why is it that every time the DA attempts to build, the conveyancing attorney is a white attorney, the main contractor is a white contractor, that the project manager is a white company, that all the empowerment and all the financial opportunities are diverted back to the suburbs and back to the DA, to who I presume to be the DA backers? Mm-hmm. Why people of colour are never given the opportunity to pull themselves up by their bootstraps by a party that claims to be the most diverse in the country?
I mean, those are very relevant questions. Is the DA controlled by a white cabal in the construction industry?
Absolutely not. But I'll start with Brett Herron's comments, if I may, in terms of the contracts that were cancelled. Brett will know he ran away from the city of Cape Town when the city identified the fact that the parcels that he had put together were clumped in a way that was irregular with processes in terms of the way that the city disposes of land assets. That is the truth, and that is what Brett Herron won't admit to. In terms of temporary housing, Fiona must acknowledge the fact that in the past 3 or 5 years, the city has not once built temporary housing in the form of Wolverivier and Blikkies. No, listen to me. In the past 5 years, the city has not built once temporary housing in the form of Wolverivier and Blikkiesdorp. That was done under the hands of Brett Herron and Patricia de Lille. Fact of the matter.
It's part of the DA. Why do you want to divert?
When you were Metro member.
Blikkiesdorp was built by Helen Zille.
Let him finish.
In fact, it's still the DA
government. Can we allow Councillor Zaid by the
Yeah, but it's still the DA government. Why does he show it to individuals?
I hope Fadil comes to council on the 2nd of November so that he can learn about city processes. He will know then that politicians have no involvement in supply chain management processes. No politician determines what the outcome of that process is. That's purely an administrative process. And he will see that the promises that he's making to the coloured community in a very divisive way doesn't do anything to unify our city and makes promises that he will definitely not be able to keep. And I hope that the listeners see through that.
I need to respond.
The DA must stop.
Let's agree to do this. We'll do 20 seconds response. We're going to have to go for a break and I have to pick up an hour of other issues. So let's go around the table very quickly. Let's start with you, Fadil.
First of all, I agree. Politicians should have no say in the procurement. But what I disagree, and I do it vigorously, is why politicians of color are sitting by and not asking the hard questions. One of the questions should be, why are white people the only people benefiting from this process? Colored people and black people are receiving... I did not once interrupt you, sir.
Where are the facts? That's nonsense.
Okay, here are the facts. I'll use Parkwood Artery as an example. White conveyancer, white builder, white project manager, white everything.
Give names,
right.
Say it.
Sir, if you doubt me, go check your records. Now, where was the politician who asked, hold on a second, here's something seriously wrong. This looks like 1976. Here's one of those politicians sitting next to me, but he sits down and he shuts up, and that's what they do. Now he says to me that I will not be able to hold my promises. I promise you that when the CCC is in council, we will put our hands up and say, hold on a second, am I living in Orania? Because white people are the only people benefiting here. Colored people and black people are receiving substandard houses where the roofs are leaking, where the doors are blown away by the wind. And they are telling it's okay. They are saying to us that because they are shutting up, so will we.
I have to go to Fiona. Fiona?
No, it's clear that the DA just want to play a blame game. Hoe gaan jy nou vir Patricia en vir Brett skielik uit die DA uithaal?
No, they ran away.
No. For the past 15 years, the DA has governed. Not Patricia, not Brett. The DA has governed. Stop play the blame game. Stop blaming them for the failures of the DA. You are. You just said that Blikkiesdorp. You just said that Blikkiesdorp, Wolverivier.
Alfred, let me go to Brett. Brett, did you run away? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, what I was trying to say is, he's now saying that Blikkiesdorp and Wolverivier is the projects of individuals. It's the project of the DA.
Which, I mean, it's a fair point. I mean, there's a process. Brett can't decide to wake up one day and make these decisions himself. But let's get Brett to respond.
I think that's exactly the point. We must remember that you are bound by caucus decisions. And the reason why those projects didn't happen is because the majority in the DA caucus voted against those projects. So when Badruddin says that Brett Heron did this or Brett Heron didn't do that, I fought with all my might to get Salt River Market released. And it was the DA caucus that sent that back. I fought with all my might to get those 5 land sites opened, but it was the DA caucus that refused. I fought with all my might to get this parking lot next to the Civic Centre released for affordable housing, but the DA caucus said no. I also want to just say that the DA makes a choice to only deliver housing according to what funding it gets from national government. It won't put 1 red cent of city funding into housing because it chooses not to. So the amount of housing money that is spent is a choice by the DA government not to invest in housing itself, but to blame national government for the restrictions on the amount of funding it can put into housing. It chooses to deliver this at a scale that national government funds.
Do you concur, Grant? I mean, there's a big surplus in the bank account of the city of Cape Town.
You don't know the rules.
Absolutely, we would agree.
In government, you don't even know what you're doing.
Let's go to Grant. Grant.
I will echo what Brett has just been saying by saying that it was the DA caucus that opened Blikkiesdorp, a ghetto, and it was the DA caucus that opened Wolverivier ghetto. And they've dumped the people there as if there's no humanity, there's no respect for the people, there's no understanding of their plight. They don't care for the city's poor, definitely not. Yeah. And it's about time that we change this. We've got to bring in leaders who have integrity and who care for the people of the city of Cape Town.
Grant Haskin there from the ACDP. I'll let you wrap up this part of the segment just now. Fadil Adams,
you just cut me off a little bit earlier, man, just before I was about to finish. There's a question that I also have for Mr. Badruddin with regard to all of us. How long is temporary? Because I know for a fact that Blikkiesdorp is 15 years old. Still young girls are being raped. Still people are being murdered
Yeah.
in what was
But it's
supposed to be a temporary housing solution. 15 years later,
not
our people are still dying there.
Yeah.
15 years later, they are still planning what they're going to do for Blikkiesdorp. Now, once they make the decision, are we going to wait 15 more years for Blikkiesdorp's people to receive their dignity?
A very relevant question there, Councillor Zaid.
Tashrik, the residents don't have to wait. As I've said, this year alone,
But they've been waiting
there are
for
about
15 years.
13,000 housing development
I mean,
that
this
is
is started by
currently being,
Helen, that is now-
currently
you-
being constructed.
Okay.
And I want to perhaps sketch a picture here.
Very quickly.
The Pickwick, Salt River and the Woodstock hospitals are 10 hectares alone. They will realize 3,384 land. When Patricia de Lille was mayor, she had written to national government to ask for the land parcels,
Again,
the
he's
large land
blaming
parcels,
somebody
not
else.
blaming ma'am,
Just use the
not
land that you
blaming
have.
large
Use
land
the land you
parcels
have.
that
We're
are able
gonna
to
sell it to
develop,
developers.
deliver almost 70 times
why that
more
was done.
housing. The question is now, why, when she's the minister in charge of this land, won't she release that land to a local government and a provincial government that is able to build
Because
those
you sell
houses,
it.
as we have
Can
now
I
already
make a
seen?
very
And
last
no
point?
matter what is being
Can I
said
make
next
a
to me,
very
the fact
last
of the matter
point?
is we are building houses. We are advancing processes to have houses built in the inner city on those 5 land parcels that Brett Heron still dreams and thinks cancelled. This is not the truth. And I
Land
really
parcels
want
said
that we
they're
speak
cancelled.
in facts during this debate.
Right, guys, we are clearly in the
A
swing of a
last
debate.
point?
I'm going to have to
Give me
ask you
the-
just to hold it for me very quickly, right? I'm going to have to go for a break very quickly. Once we return, we can continue this part of our discussion, including talking about the rates and taxes. Why living in the city of Cape Town appears to be so much more expensive than anywhere else. We'll talk about that and more. Coming up, this is NRA special debate coming to you live here from the seat of power at the council.